Hi everyone, it's Mitch. It's Thursday, December 11th, and I did another video this morning, and I'm not going to publish it out there. And there's really no reason to. Basically, I talked about the award shows that are going on tonight, and I talked about how most of the awards are given out by the alumni associations of certain schools. So there's a lot of bias involved. So while we get usually very good football players that win those awards, and especially the ones that are nominated for the awards, we don't always get the right winner. And I don't like to say that they don't exist and congratulate the winners, but I do say that these awards maybe aren't as significant as people make them out to be. So I don't want to downplay it for the guys that have won it or that have been nominated for it, but at the same time I don't want to over glorify it, and I don't it's just not how we do things here. We try and always keep it real, and I'm not going to say something is something that it isn't. In any event, what I am going to talk about is some of the games that are going to be going on during bowl season where I already have a lean. I don't have my picks yet done, and I'm not even really close, but I will have them out. Next week I'll start. Putting some of the picks out, and Jordan doesn't have any of his either. We don't do things like that here. We don't just look at the games, look at who's in it, and start circling. We do in-depth analysis, and you guys get to see a lot of the analysis that we do. We try and formulate a winner. We tell you how confident we are in that winner. But we don't guarantee the winner, but what we really try to do is give you all the background information that, you can use with your own analysis, and we'll help you decide who you think is going to, be the winner. And then we get into a little bit of debate in the forum, and maybe you guys sway me from where I was picking. It happens. In any event, I'm leaning a certain way in a few games, and I just wanted to share these with you because the lines are moving out there, and, I'm going to discuss that a little more in today's blog post. In any event, let me quickly get to some of these games. And you got to remember, just because I'm leaning one way doesn't mean that's the way my eventual pick is going to go. As we saw just a couple weeks ago when I was leaning Alabama, I ended up picking Florida, who ended up covering. And when I posted my pick, I posted Florida. It was there for the world to see. You guys had plenty of time. In any event, let's look at some of these games. I'm just going to put them right up here because I wrote them down. I don't want to. There's 4 or 5 of them. I don't want to leave anything out. First one that I want to talk about is the Texas Tech Ole Miss game. This line is coming down from 7.5 down to 5.5. Texas Tech was laying 7.5. Now they're laying 5.5. Love Texas Tech. Love them up to -10 or better. Ole Miss is overrated in this one. They've won 7 games this year. Only 3 of those games are against bowl teams. One of them was the Florida Gators, and that's why they're getting all the respect that they get. And you know what? They've earned that. But the other bowl teams that they've beaten, LSU and Memphis. Not too much going on there. LSU 7-5 this year, actually 6-5 because one of those wins was against a 1AA team. Memphis was 6-6, a 500 bowl team, and one of those wins was against a 1AA team as well. So they were really 5-6 this season, as far as I'm concerned. So Ole Miss, they haven't really beaten anybody. Samford, Auburn, Vandy. Come on. Texas Tech. They beat Texas, equal or better to the Florida win for Ole Miss, and they played in that rough conference. I love Texas Tech to really stomp out on Ole Miss in that one. The other game, Boston College against Vandy, SEC-ACC game. ACC clearly gotten the best of the SEC this year. I think it continues again in this one. Boston College was laying 4. It's down to 3. No idea why. Vandy has lost 6 of their last 7 games. Boston College lost in the ACC championship game. I don't see why the line was this low to begin with, and I don't see why it's dropping. I'm leaning Boston College all the way. I'm leaning Georgia against Michigan State. I think Michigan State stinks. I think that they're one of the worst teams that's going to be playing on New Year's Day, maybe outside of the South Carolina Gamecocks, who also 7-5 with one of their wins coming against a 1AA team. Michigan State, they're ranked in 60 or higher or worse in every offensive and defensive category. And for Javon Ringer fans and backers out there, 72nd in the country in team rushing. And for those of you that don't know this, there's only 120 teams, so they're far into the lower half in that sort of offensive category. So Georgia, I'm not a big Matt Stafford fan. I'm not a big Georgia overall game planning fan as everybody else is. The line is at 7.5. It opened at 5.5. I like Georgia up to 50.5 in this one. No Sean Moreno against that sieve of a defense that Michigan State has, especially against in trying to stop the run. That's where this game's going to be won and lost, and that's where the pounding is going to take place. I think Georgia wins this one by 4 touchdowns easily. Another one that I'm looking at, Texas against Ohio State. Ohio State, for those of you who've been living under a rock the last couple years, hasn't really shown up for the championship game that they've been in the last 2 years. Texas is a team that this year could have easily been in the championship game based upon the body of work that they've done this season. A lot of people make the argument that the Texas Longhorns should be in the championship game this year. If this was the championship game of Texas against Ohio State, this line would be about 15, 16 points, and I think that's where it should be right now. It should be maybe be higher than that. I don't see how Ohio State hangs with Texas in this one. I don't see how the line has dropped from 10.5. Texas was laying to 9.5. I think it's probably a good chance to jump all over it. Like I said, these are just leans. They're strong leans, though. They're strong enough that I'm willing to share them with you guys. In any event, this is Mitch. Thanks for joining me. Have a great day. I'm going to be sending out the bowl picking contest tonight, talking about how we're going to do it this year, and it's our first time around for a bowl picking contest, and what games are going to be included. It's going to be every bowl game, and it's going to start on the 20th and all that good stuff. So in any event, this is Mitch. Thanks for joining me. Have a great day. If anyone's up for it, let's do a chat tonight in the chat room for the Bears Saints game. Maybe I'll post something out on the forum, and those have been a lot of fun. We haven't had one in a while, and we've had some really good success when we get in there and start chatting it up. So in any event, have a great day. Thanks for joining me.